The Highlanders are back! Yes, that's right. Hello and welcome back to the Highlanders career mode. We're about to kick things off here for Season 4, 2017 with the new signings and departures for the Super Rugby season upcoming with the Highlanders. Thanks for sticking around. It's been a long off-season with the end-of-year tour and all other rugby action happening. But now, with those coming to a close, the Highlanders make a valiant return. And boy oh boy has it been a busy off-season. The money troubles are hitting the Highlanders hard, but we'll come to that in just a second when we have a look at the squad. But we are back here, Highlanders career mode, Season 4, and we'll have plenty of action coming up from this series very, very soon. Very much a lot of this series coming up very, very quickly. So stay tuned for that. But let's look at the real action, what you've come here to see. It is the Highlanders signings for 2017 Season 4. Let's have a look at the squad. Hold on to your horses. Hold on to your pants. This is going to get good. And as in usual fashion, the whole squad has been listed from the front row to the back three. The fullbacks at the end. So here we go. Here is the 2017 Highlanders squad. Now keep in mind, we had a salary cap, and boy, I can tell you something here. We are so tight on that salary cap. We had $1,000 left over. $1,000. Now the cheapest player you can sign is about $28,000. So keep that in contrast. We've kept it as tight as possible, but boy oh boy, it was such hard work getting this team to fit. As a result, a couple of players have departed I would have liked to keep, but we have some real superstar power in this team once again, and you can see right at the start, the first name on the list, captain, goal kicker and play kicker, although he won't be doing any of those three in the real matches, Owen Franks. Owen Franks, a straight-up replacement for Alexander, who has retired, so they were pretty much a direct swap, although Owen Franks a bit more higher salary, but a better player as well. So Alexander's gone. That's brought Franks in. The first big signing, and well, it's a whopper really for the front rowers. That's a huge boost to the big men. On with the rest of the front rowers, we've got John Afoa still in the squad. Tumanga Allen is still there, as is Tami Afuna. But another addition is a youngster. Xavier Foreman is coming in, a Tongan player. Now, very young, only about 20 years old. Not as good as the rest, but with the salary cap starting to bite hard, we needed to get some younger players who weren't so demanding on salary, and that is where Foreman has come to the fore. Bad pun there to kick things off. So that is the front rowers, mainly the big addition of Owen Franks, a huge, huge addition to this squad with the retirement of Alexander. That is a big, big replacement. Into the hookers, and somehow I've still got 4 hookers. They're just so cheap and they're easy to keep around. So we have 4 hookers here. They'll be led from Motu Motu'u. Alongside him will be Stephen Moore once again. He will probably lead the team from the front, being the starting hooker. Liam Coltman and Braden Mitchell, the other two, didn't see too much game time last season, but their contracts were still going, and it was just a no-brainer to keep them around. Into the second rowers now, and this season we have one less, and that is Hugh Pyle, who has departed us. So in his place we have Jacques du Plessis, the South African second rower. That should be another good addition alongside his fellow countryman Ebenezer Beef, and the player of the year for 2014 Brodie Retallick, and that is a really good second row. A nice depth as well with du Plessis there, and if those two should either go down, which they haven't yet, he is an adequate replacement at the back for the second rower. So that is the second row. We go to the back row, and you can see here is the marquee signing for the Highlanders in this flanker division. Sam Warburton, the Welsh captain, and really such an influential player. He has joined the Highlanders. Now, his contract is fairly decent as well. He's on just a shade under 200k, and we've got him for a few seasons as well. So here's a massive addition. There was a lot of requests for him to be added to the team, and somehow we managed to get him in there. Alongside him again will be Stefan Armitage, who was just superb last season. Ben Moen is there as well as Toby Falatau. So a couple of Welshmen there keeping the back row nice and tidy. But just the 4 flankers, we've lost Rob Shaw and Nasi Manu this season, which is a bit of a shame because I quite like the impact Nasi Manu had, but just couldn't find the salary room for him. Maybe we'll get him back next year. We'll see how this season goes. So into the scrum halves, and we have 3 this season. A big loss is Francois Holgard, but paying 250k for someone who just sits on the bench 80% of the season, gets the odd run off the bench every now and then. It was just a bit expensive, and when, like I say, the salary cap was chomping behind us, and you know, you have to have a minimum of 30 players in the squad as well, so that's another thing to keep in mind. You can't just rock on up with 25 players and hope that you don't get too many injuries. Nope, you cannot progress without 30. So as a result, we've had to ditch Holgard, and we've picked up Pyrgos and Guri, the Scotsman and the Italian, to partner Aaron Smith. So again, Aaron Smith will be the key front man, and Pyrgos and Guri will substitute behind him quite nicely. And they're also very capable replacements if Smith should get injured. Both international players and both of a high calibre. So into the fly halves, or the first fives, whichever you want to call them, and we have just the 2 to pick from this season. Sexton is gone. He has departed us as expected, really. He just did not fit in at all, and he just struggled throughout the whole few seasons he was here. As a result, we now have just the 2. Sopawanga and Robbie Robinson will lead the way, and those 2 have really been the key players. If one gets injured, the other one will step up, and hopefully they both don't go down in a screaming heap, or we could be in a bit of trouble. But then again, plenty of backs to pick from, and I'm sure someone will slot in there and fill the role. So let's go on to centres, and out-and-out centres, we just have the 2. It is Sonny Bill Williams and Malachi Fekitoa. So they're the 2 actual fully first position centres, and when we look at our wingers and fullbacks in a second, you'll see that they cover each other quite nicely, in the fact that even Robinson can cover fullback and wing, Williams can cover centre and wing as well, so plenty of covering going on between these guys at the back. So let's go too far. Let's have a look at the rest of the edition, and here's a big one for you all. Julian Savia. Wow, this is a huge signing, and now you can probably understand why we've had trouble with the salary cap in this pre-season. When you get the likes of Warburton, Savia, just to name a couple there as well, Owen Franks, you know, they're not cheap. They are not cheap. And as a result, you know, some other players have had to go. We've cut the squad right back to 30. So we're living on a thread at the moment, but hopefully we'll get the money going back the other way. Now, Julian Savia, he is an expensive man. 280,000 a season he's on, but he is a blockbuster. Look at that break tackle ability. It is just about completely maxed out along with strength. So he will be key. There's going to be massive competition for the winger spots this season. Alongside him, Sharon Stowers, Patrick Osborne being renewed. But wait for it, here's another whopper. It is George North. So we have a real big Welsh contingent now with the likes of Warburton and Falatau. George North is here as well. So keeping the nationwide thing going on. Nations from everywhere around the globe coming to the Highlanders. But George North, relatively cheap, around 240,000 compared to the likes of Savia. You know, he's a few dobs cheaper, so that's not so bad. George North joins us, and it's really going to be hard to dislodge Savia and North from those 2 winger spots. When you look at last season's incumbents, the likes of Stowers and Osborne, it's going to be tricky for those 2 to get some game time apart from off the bench, but such depth. Imagine if you play against a team that starts with Savia and North, and then at 60 minutes or so they bring on Stowers and Osborne. That's just freakish depth out on the wing and the backline. It is just amazing. Gillies Kaka still remains in the squad. He is just such a talented and cheap backup to have. It is just a massive addition to keep him around. And fullbacks Israel Folau, who will probably play in the centres alongside Sonny Bill Williams, or maybe George North will spend some time at 13 as well. Who knows what the opening few matches of pre-season will show us, but there is so much to learn about this team. How will they gel? A lot of changes again. Ben Smith renewed, of course. You can't not renew Ben Smith's contract. He is the heart and soul of the Highlanders, and that is why he has to be there, because he is the best number 15 in the game, and he will be right there for the Highlanders this season again. So there is the 30-man squad for the Highlanders for 2017. Do tell me exactly what you think about this. Looking through it now, I think we're probably a couple players too heavy on the wingers and maybe lacking in just one flanker as well. But looking through it again, shimmy up here, like we've got 4 flankers. 3 of them will play. We probably could have done with one more, I think. But then the likes of Jacques Duplessis there could probably cover on the blind side, possibly number 8 even. But yeah, probably a bit light there on the second and back row of the scrum. But there we go, key players, and what can you do about that? Maybe next season we'll fix that up, but there we go. Remember, tell me what you think of the squad, and of course, next season, remind me to clean that up when we get to the end of 2017. Someone's got to remind me, because I just signed who you guys want to see. So there we go. It's your fault. I'll blame you. So there we go. That is our squad for 2017. As you picked it, big selections there for George North, Julian Savia, the most 2 asked for players in the comments for the end of last season's video. And they have joined the Highlanders. Boy, that is such an explosive backline. It's going to be hard to stop this team once again. So with that in mind, let's check out who we have in the coming weeks along with the rest of the season. It is 2017. It is Super Rugby time. So here is the Highlanders pre-season and regular season schedule. First up, we have the Western Force, and that is an away match. And you can see previous encounters here is quite interesting. The Highlanders have struggled against the Force, 17-7, 7-0 and 8-6. The last 3 results against the Western Force, so that could be a good game to kick off the season with a lot of new players. Secondly, we go back home to Forsyth Bar Stadium, where we will find the Cheetahs, and that one again, interesting results here. Cheetahs won one of the last 3, 17-7 over the Highlanders, but the last 2 have gone the way of the Highlanders, 14-10 and 24-7, as they just improved as they went on. Then they're off to Eden Park to face the Blues. Now these two are getting a bit of a rivalry here, as you can see the results. Highlanders dominant, but the Blues, boy, they've been one of the best teams to come out of New Zealand apart from the Highlanders. A real strong conference is the New Zealand one. They then round out their pre-season with their final match against the Hurricanes. Now the Hurricanes have struggled recently. You can see the results at the bottom there as well. 28-17, 32-7 and 29-14 all to the Highlanders. And the Hurricanes have struggled to put any real emphasis into their game. Signings again will be crucial. Are the other side struggling with finances as well? We'll soon see who they have signed in the coming weeks. So the regular season will kick off with the Highlanders at home to the Blues at their only match of February. Then they're over across the ditch to Amy Park to face the Melbourne Rebels. Then back to the Hurricanes. So a couple of sides from pre-season are straight up here for the Highlanders. The Hurricanes at home at Forsyth Bar Stadium for the Highlanders. Then they go up to Waikato Stadium to face the Chiefs for 3 matches in March. It is in April, things get really busy as the Lions come to town, followed by the Western Force again. Then it is the Blues for the second time. So interestingly, the Blues and the Highlanders will be done with each other after just the second month of the competition. Then they return home to face the Brumbies and the Cheetahs before heading away to Newlands Stadium in May to face the Stormers, and then across to Kings Park to face the Sharks. They return home back to Forsyth Bar Stadium at the end of May to face the Crusaders. And then for June, they just have the 2 matches. The Waratahs, finalists 2 of the last 3 years. That's going to be a big one. Keep an eye out for how good this match could be. Waratahs Highlanders at Sydney Football Stadium could be another final in the making. Then it is the Crusaders once again, this time at AMI Stadium before rounding out their season in July against the Chiefs at home, and then the Hurricanes for the final time at Westpac Stadium. So an interesting breakup of the season there. They play away in South Africa just after the middle of their season, and they have a good chance to finish strongly, but how good will the Crusaders, Chiefs and Hurricanes be? That'll be the question to whether it could be a good finish or a bad finish for the Highlanders. So that is the schedule, and after that it could possibly be playoff matches, semi-finals. Who knows what could happen after that? So that is it. The pre-season about to kick off for the Highlanders. They are up against the Western Force at Patterson Stadium. It is the match to kick off the 4th season of Super Rugby 2017. You've seen the squad. Let me know what you think. And of course, keep in mind, remind me of what we need for next season. Of course, that is still a long way away. But we will kick things off against the Western Force. That will be coming extremely soon for all you who have been wanting the Highlanders career mode. It is back and it is better than ever. 2017 is going to be a cracker. Big signings for the Highlanders, and if you're clever, you can see down the bottom there's been some signings going along the bottom of the screen. Nothing of real interest here for anyone. The Waratahs are picking up Tegeo Donnelly, and Matt Talasi has gone to play with the Hurricanes. Ray Laulala, another one who has accepted a new contract with someone to play with Sharks. So there we go. There's lots of stuff happening here. New season, new players, and we'll be cracking into the pre-season very quickly, very soon. Against the Western Force, I hope to see you there. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all for the Highlanders versus the Force. Until then, take care.